it's Alicia here again, and today I'm back with another Christmas recipe in my ugly Christmas sweater. Now today I'm going to be trying to make a red velvet cake roll. I made my first pumpkin roll for Thanksgiving and it turned out so well and tasted so great that I wanted to try and make a cake roll for Christmas, and I thought what better than red velvet. So I did some looking around for recipes and I ended up on the Hershey's website, and that is the recipe that I'm going to be using, and I will link it down below in the description. So anyway, let's get started and I'm going to show you what you're going to need. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 375. And as for ingredients, I've got some confectioner's powdered sugar here. And the recipe calls for about a quarter cup of this, and that is to basically sprinkle on your kitchen towel that you're going to be placing your cake on. I'm not going to measure that out. I'm just going to sprinkle enough on the towel to where it looks good. Okay, so as far as the cake, you're going to need 2/3 cup flour, a quarter cup of cocoa powder. You're going to need a half cup of granulated sugar, and then you're also going to need a separate 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. For egg yolks, 4 egg whites, a teaspoon of vanilla, and then in here I have a half teaspoon baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon baking soda, and an 1/8 teaspoon of salt. And then you're gonna need some red food coloring. Now, the recipe calls for an entire bottle of this, and that seems like super overkill to me. So I'm gonna use maybe 1/3 of that. And the color is not gonna be as red and rich, but I don't wanna use a whole bottle of food coloring. That seems kind of just like way too much to me. Over here, we've got what we're gonna need to make our cream cheese filling. And that is a cup of powdered sugar, 8 ounces of cream cheese, and you want this softened, so you want to take it out a good ½ hour before you use it. Same thing with the butter, you want it softened. And this is 6 tablespoons of butter, and then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So that's everything that you're gonna need for the cake. Okay, so the recipe says to take your egg whites and you want to beat them until you get soft peaks. So I'm using my whisk attachment here, and I'm going to just beat this until I get soft peaks, and then I will be back. Okay, I've got some soft peaks forming. So now you're supposed to mix in gradually the ½ cup of granulated sugar. So I'm gonna do that. And then you wanna just let this go until you have some stiff peaks formed with your egg whites. As you can see, this is nice and stiff now. Now I'm going to transfer this to a separate bowl and set it aside because I have to mix up the egg yolks now. The next step is to add your egg yolks, the vanilla. What you want to do is you're going to beat this on medium for 3 minutes. Okay, so while those egg yolks are beating up, I'm going to go ahead and mix my dry ingredients together. So I'm just gonna add my cocoa to my flour, and then my salt and baking powder and baking soda. And then I'm just gonna stir this up real well. Okay, and also while my egg mixture is still beating, I want to show you the cookie sheet that I'm using. As you can see, I've got it greased, and I've got a piece of parchment paper on there, and there is a lot of grease on this. I don't want this getting stuck in the pan. So that's the pan, just plain old cookie sheet that I'm going to use to put the cake batter in. And then here is my powdered sugared kitchen towel. Okay, it's been 3 minutes, and now I'm gonna pour in my remaining granulated sugar. And then you're supposed to continue to mix this on medium for another 2 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my food coloring here, and that's lovely. And I'm gonna pour the remainder of this bottle. It's probably actually only about a quarter full. I'm gonna pour the remainder of this bottle in here. I'm gonna take some water and I'm gonna fill this until I get to the 3rd cup line here. And that's right about there. Okay, now that my egg yolks are done mixing, the next step is to take this water and dye mixture and then my mixed dry ingredients, and I'm gonna mix these 2 ingredients in alternately with the yolk mixture. So I'm gonna start off with a little bit of the colored water, and I'm gonna mix this on low, and you just want to mix this once you get everything in it until everything is just mixed together. You don't want to overmix it. So I'm going to put a little bit of my dry in, the rest of the water, and the rest of the dry ingredients. I'm going to take my egg whites here and I'm going to just fold them into this mixture. And I'm just going to fold it enough to where it is all incorporated together. So just gonna go like this. Just kind of fold it in. Okay, so I've got this pretty well folded in. So now I'm gonna just spread it on the pan here as evenly as possible. Okay, now I'm gonna just kind of spread this a little bit. This filling recipe seems like just pretty standard cream cheese filling. What you're gonna do is you're going to put your cream cheese softened, your powdered sugar, your softened butter, and your vanilla. And then you're just gonna beat this until it's creamed together. Okay, and here is the filling all mixed up. Now I'm just gonna set this aside until I am ready to use it in the roll. Okay, it has been 12 minutes and I'm gonna call this done. And you want to kind of loosen it in the pan, kind of like that. And once you get this loosened in all 4 corners, you want to immediately get this out of the pan. So I'm gonna take this over and I'm gonna plop this onto my prepared kitchen towel. Okay, so I'm gonna flop this right onto the powdered sugar on the towel. And blow powdered sugar everywhere again. There's gotta be a better way to do that. Anyway, in my powdered sugar dust storm here, I'm going to lift this up and see what it looks like. Okay, and it came out. So, now I'm just gonna peel parchment paper off. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna roll it from the narrow end all the way down. And I'm just gonna try and be gentle here so that I don't tear it. And just keep rolling until I get all the way to the end here. Okay. Okay, and then I'm gonna tuck my ends in. And you wanna find the seam, which is right here, and you wanna lay it on the seam on a wire rack, just like that. So now you're just gonna let this cool, and probably for like an hour or so, and then we will come back and fill it with the cream cheese mixture. Okay, so at that point, I lost a bunch of my footage. I've got the end of the first cake roll I did, and I will show you pictures of that, but I lost the whole section on filling it with the cream cheese and stuff, so I decided to go ahead and make another cake roll. But this time I'm going to be doing the rolling of the actual cake a little bit different. Instead of putting it on the kitchen towel with the powdered sugar where it blows powdered sugar all over the place, I wanted to find a different way of doing that that's maybe a little less messy. And I thought, well, since I'm making a whole nother one, I might as well try a different way anyway. So what I'm gonna do this time is I'm gonna just, and this just came out of the oven, still very hot, I'm going to carefully grab the edge of the parchment paper here and loosen all four corners again, just like I did last time. But this time I'm going to just lift it very gently off of the pan and slide it over here, just like that. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to roll this just right up in the parchment paper. So this is definitely warm. So you want to be careful doing this, but it's not too bad. So I'm gonna just roll this in the parchment paper. I've got this one rolled up, and now I'm gonna just let it sit on its seam and let it cool for probably a good hour. And again, setting it on its seam. And I will be back once this is cooled. Okay guys, so it's been about 45 minutes. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to slowly unroll this, and it is sticking, so I'm gonna just do this very, very slowly. Okay, and that is it unrolled. Now, this definitely did not work as well as using the towel with powdered sugar, unfortunately. There's quite a bit of places where it, the cake got pulled back from the parchment paper. But anyway, this is it unrolled. So now the next step is to spread your cream cheese mixture on this. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'm gonna just start with kind of plopping some down the center line here. Okay, now I'm gonna just kind of try to spread this evenly and as cleanly as I can. Some of this cake crumb is getting picked up in here, but I'm gonna just spread this as evenly as I can on here. And I'm gonna keep it about an inch away from the edges so that when I roll it back up, the cream cheese doesn't squeeze out the ends. Okay, I've got that spread out pretty evenly. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to attempt to roll this back up. Like I said, it's got several little cracks, so not sure how well that's gonna go. But what I'm gonna do is just kind of roll this right off of the parchment paper, kind of like that. And I'm gonna just keep rolling her down, trying to keep it as tight as I can. Okay, I've got it completely rolled, and it is sitting on its seam like you want it to do. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna transfer this to a cutting board, and I'm going to put some powdered sugar on the top of it. Okay, and here is what it looks like with the powdered sugar on it. Now I've got a pretty good crack going here on the side, which is kind of what happened with my first one too. I just want to cut into this one and show you what it looks like. And you normally want to let this refrigerate for about a good hour before you cut into it, but I'm gonna just cut into it now. Okay, that's what it looks like inside. This one doesn't look quite as good as the other one. I would say, even though I don't like the kitchen towel with the powdered sugar method, I think it definitely works better than rolling it in the parchment paper. This one just ended up sticking quite a bit to that parchment paper after it had been cooled to it. So I would probably go back to the more commonly used method of the kitchen towel with the powdered sugar. And so I will go and show you the first roll I did with that method. Okay, and that is what it looks like. It looks pretty good on the inside. And if you want to add more powdered sugar to the top of this, you can, but since mine's got this massive crack going on here, I'm not gonna bother trying to make it look any prettier. I'll probably just roll it that way so you can't see the crack. Anyway, as far as ease, this definitely wasn't as easy as the pumpkin roll was. It was kind of a little more meticulous with the egg whites and all that. And it cracked easier than the pumpkin one did because, you know, it got that big crack going there. But, I mean, all in all, I think it's pretty. So now I'm gonna have my kid do a little taste test and she can tell us what it tastes like. Okay, go ahead and taste it and let us know what you think.
Some of that filling there.
Oh, there's your face.
That's some good stuff, you guys.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
All right. So how does it compare to the pumpkin roll?
I'd say it's better than the pumpkin roll.
Oh, okay.
I prefer this flavors is red velvet for something chocolate.
Yeah, it's red velvet.
It's very good.
Okay.
It's got a nice taste of the filling.
Like the cream cheese filling with the
definitely.
chocolate cake?
Yes.
All right, well, I will try it here a little bit later, but I guess the verdict is it's good. It's not real pretty there, but
Tastes good.
But the inside's pretty. So I don't know if I would try this one again. I guess after I taste it, you know, maybe I will. But there you have it. This is Hershey's version of a red velvet cake roll. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, now I tasted this. I take back when I said I don't know if I would make this again because it is really, really good. It may not have turned out super pretty with that big old crack on the side of it and these little ones on top here, but it is really, really good. I just wanted to add that in there.